No, I didn't really forget about it, but I have been, I lost some parts. I know I can get it running. I just gotta pick up where I left off. Welcome everybody back to BUCH'D Customs. I'm your host, Chandler Buck. This is my neighbor's Kawasaki 300. You wanna check out part one? Go check it out in the top right. I believe it needed a coil and a starter. Let's dig in. The plug I put in the tire must not either be working and there's a leak somewhere else. But for starters, no pun intended, where we left this thing off is it ran great. But just as fast as we got it fixed, it decided to throw another hissy fit. I need to dig down the frame and get to the starter. The other thing I have to replace, and I've already dismantled like 95% of, is the ignition coil. Is this unbolted? Yes, it is. I'm gonna start off with thanking my buddy Austin. He's had multiple quads before, and he gave me some insights on what could possibly have went wrong. This right here dangling is the ignition coil. I checked the battery when I got home. It still read 12 volts. It's fine. But I lost all cranking power and I lost my spark. Rule is, when you buy cheap, you buy two. And I did indeed buy two of these things. They were actually pretty cost effective. That is two completely different parts. But what's weird is that I did look up the part that's supposed to go to this. Guess we could test our spark plug to see if that goes in. Yep, that part matches. And I did check the gap on it. The gap's fine. I guess for now, I'm just gonna replace these and just get the other wires out of the way. Let's put it this way. If it doesn't safely work, I will go back and I will try to find this exact part. But for the meantime, and we'll see if we can get it to fire. Now how the heck am I supposed to get that out? This one at least does look similar, and yes indeed it does. Looks like there are two bolts that hold it in. I don't believe I have to take off the muffler. Actually yeah, I might. At least get the top part off. How do I manage to put a socket on backwards? Can I get to the other one? Oh, that one's taking the whole stud with it. Okay. There we go. Is that a 10? It is indeed. But how am I supposed to get it up and over? Well, I'm sorry to say, but the cover is officially, it's bye-bye. I have to grab a wrench for that one. There we go. You can't see it, but the actual gear looks pretty nice in this. And it's gonna be easier to do that than have to try and, you know, dig the whole thing out and realign the sprocket. Oh, I think I got it. Did I get it? Nice. Just gotta reattach this. New nut. Secure. Wiggle the exhaust back into place. Also might help if you put in the spark plug. I've heard that's a pretty crucial part. That's plugged in. Fuel, battery. Fuel, battery. There's that and the battery. Terminals look strong. Do we have connectivity? Yes. Sure that is not, oh, we need it on. It probably would help if we had fuel. What do we got? Well, we have cranking again. That's the way, I like it, Beautiful! That took roughly 14 minutes, and no, I did not look at the clock on the camera, but throttle seems just a little bit sticky. All I gotta do now is run this thing dry and get everything bolted back down. The coil, I'm gonna keep that secondary one just in case that's too small of a part. I don't think it was a huge issue, but when I looked up the parts, I said a Kawasaki 300 BU, and that's the part that it gave me. I still have to do the brake flushing on the front set, and this thing is pretty much set to go. I thought I'd go take it for a ride. Well, So that is a relief. It's not running perfect. There still seems to be something that's not tuned quite right, but overall, like, you give it throttle, has perfect input, perfect response. The rest is history. There we go. Brake pads surprisingly look good on that, but this is what we're after. Wide stance. I think this is an old patch, maybe? That's the one I just put in. Nope, that would be the one I put in. Nice job, Buck. Oh, no, that's the one I put in. This tire's been plugged a few times. Well, you know what that means. Not letting the tire fall over, that's the first part. I need this. I throw away the box, but sometimes it's just easier to keep everything in the packaging. Might have put that one in a little too far, but we'll try that out when we do our soapy water test. Yeah, I put that one in too far. I can already hear it hissing. Nice job, Buck. You kind of wasted a plug. That was loud. Let's try that again with a fresh one. Don't put it all the way down. There we go. Don't see any air bubbles. This is a very stubborn plug. It's still seeping out of that same one. Just deflate the whole thing. And it almost might be one that needs a patch from the inside rather than the outside. This plug thing's great, but if it can't really fill the void, then there's no point in putting it in. It has the best chance to connect. Very nice, and we'll try that. I don't want to admit it, but I think that's the problem. I think the hole is just too big for a patch like this. We'll give the rest of it a spray down. Oh, we got another one. This tire is also kind of dry rotted and cracked, so there's not really a surprise if there's a lot of holes in this. As long as it's just a very, very slow leak, I'll just work with it. Guess while the tire's off, we can go ahead and add fluid to the brakes and start working on that. I know I'm down at my house, but I'm too lazy to go get a screwdriver. If you can remember from last episode, this thing had no brake fluid, and it was also like corroded and orange as can be. Yep, still orange as ever. Have some paper towels, just try and, clean it out a little bit. Yeah, brake fluid's not supposed to look that way. It's about as clean as that's gonna get. Now we're gonna crack the bleeder valve loose. I do not have the, clear line, but I'm gonna use that old fuel line from the snowblower / other things, yeah, and we're gonna flush this out. Now we should just have to add fluid. That stuff is literally brown. Now we're starting to make progress. Had a little spill, accidentally kicked the cup. So you can have an idea, that's what was floating around in there. I won't actually torque it till it's on the ground, because I hate people who torque lug nuts with impacts, and I think a few of you might be able to relate. The real kicker is, because the master cylinder was technically already empty, what I'm hoping did not happen is, even with filling it, there might be a handful of air left in the lines, and now the front brakes won't work. If that is the case, then I will address that slightly later, because I need to get this thing cleaned up. So if I do need to work on anything else, it is a lot easier, a lot cleaner, and slightly a bit more enjoyable. So that's the back brake. That's the front brake, which does nothing. Great, that's fantastic. I sometimes think this four-wheeler just has it out for me. But this one should always work because that's the one that's cable driven to the back. If this one doesn't work, you're hosed. Alright, on to cleaning. Now for this part I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's a pretty foolproof thing to wash a vehicle. I like to start with scrubbing the tires. For a wheel like this, it doesn't matter, but I learned the hard way that if you use this stuff on like a aluminum or a chrome, yeah, you're gonna have to get like a polishing wheel to get that stuff off, because otherwise, good luck. Spitting definition of putting lipstick on a pig. You do not want to breathe this stuff in though. I do know that. And it'll let you know. It definitely will. This is the same stuff that I used to clean the tires up on the 130, which was a tractor I did over the summer. And that should be good enough. Just spray in the wheel well to kind of get some of that other stuff broken up. And we're ready to start cleaning. My Honda hasn't run in a while. Make sure it's got fuel. Set to go. Like butter. And that is why you buy a Honda. I think we'll tune you guys into 3800 the buck while we get this thing dialed in. I'm gonna be here a while. It's gonna take a bit to spray it. And there she be. Just gotta let it dry off and see what we got. I got good news and bad news. The good news is the thing runs. The bad news is
we're crash landing.
We still don't have the brakes to the front, and I think this has some problem with maybe oil mixing it, not mixing, but getting into the gas. The spark plug decides that it likes to foul every now and then and get coated up with the oil. Which it might just have done that. Son of a gun. Everything else pretty much works exactly as it should. We just need to get this tire fixed, bleed the ever-living bejesus out of the front calipers so that way we can get only fluid instead of air in the brake lines. I'm gonna run into town because I have to go and pick up my truck from the shop. You guys probably saw some stuff about that. Went and got some ball joints done on it, but that allows me to get some extra tools or miscellaneous parts to try and finish this thing out. Because I can do everything else up at the shed where my car's at right now. I just had to wash it down here. Now, I'm sad to say that I was not able to get my truck back because it wasn't able to get into an alignment before I got into town, but I did get the stuff that's going to make bleeding these brakes a lot easier. Got this old water bottle, and I tried finding this clear line just right out of the string. Places I went to didn't know where it was, so I just bought a little pump thing and took the wire from it. But now all I got to do is, that pin's kind of nice because it'll hold the bottle, and we can head back up top and add the fluid. Let's go ahead and crack this valve loose. And the goal, we should see fluid start flowing out of it, which yes, it is. Having a little bit of drip, but that's because it's not completely sealed. So the brake line does not have any air bubbles. Austin mentioned to me that there is a chance that the caliper itself might be having problems, but I don't think so. I believe we just kind of gotta keep going until we start feeling this handle go stiff. Now let's try it on this side. Feed it on the Zert. Reservoir is topped off. Opening the floodgates. Still feels like there's air. How are our brake lines? Everything looks fine. Well, actually, hang on. It kind of feels like I got some resistance, but it's not a lot. I think I've done about all I can do for the time being. The main thing about this is that it runs, it drives, it does stop, and that was the main goals. I still don't necessarily know what's going on with this. I don't see that the caliper seizing would be a problem because the four-wheeler worked completely fine like 3 days ago before I decided to start draining this, so there's gotta be still just air in the lines. There's no way that the calipers have seized. But I think that's probably where we're going to leave this one off. I'm gonna take it for a quick little spin down on the bottoms, make sure everything still sounds right, everything still runs right, and then we will sign it off. want to thank everybody for tuning into this Project 300. Obviously, it's still not 100% done, but for the most part, we never gave up. We got the thing running, we got it driving, we got it back out in workable condition, and that's all that mattered. So if you guys want to help support the channel for more projects like this, consider dropping a like down below, consider subscribing, and also checking out the rest of the channel. Keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, and most importantly, keep it fun. Bucked Up Customs out.